Thank you. And you see, I'm a proud Grace parent, but also I got to add one small tidbit. Is this church actually was when I was a small child, I actually was a member of building this church. And a couple of people have heard me say this before, but this room holds significance for me too, because this goes way back to a teenager, I guess, and when the church bought this property and had this vision for this church that was this building. All the kids, we got mowers and weed eaters and such, and we came and we cleaned this property, and we built this church, and we christened this church, and we prayed for this ground, and those are all very vivid things to me. I can vividly see my pastor, Wayne Kenyon, standing right up there. And I don't know if you know Wayne, but he and Shirley are still in Arlington, and wonderful spiritual time here on this exact ground. I thought it was important when I heard about the opportunity to address this subject tonight, and it, for me, was an opportunity to share in a personal story and in a personal way something that, as Phil's list up there on the right said, all of those things. Don't be prideful, bring shame, all these things that I felt, my wife felt, my kids felt, to the point to say that, we were certainly challenged in our family. I will say that it's primarily social media related, pertaining to iPad, computer, cell phone, and some of that coupled with other venues and things that occurred. It was something that I said, this doesn't happen to people like me. This sort of stuff doesn't happen. I'm not going to allow it. All this real, fatherly, Christ-based family, great mom and dad, great father-in-law and mother-in-law, great grandparents. I mean, it's just doesn't happen to people like me. But our healing has come through sharing. And after a lot of discussion, people asked me, wasn't there a sign? Didn't you see that there was problems going on? And the answer still today is no. I still can't pick out that it was occurring until things had really advanced in our household to a point that we had to take some serious action. So I've got a few items to share, first about our story, and then I'll share some of the things we learned. But I do have 4 children. Last year I had 4 children in my home. This year I have 3 because one went to college. And unbeknownst to us, one of our children had started to feel very poorly about herself, something that can happen at any age, obviously, even with adults. But to us, it was the beginning of the teenage years. It was the beginning of the female changes that go on around that age of 13. I say it was heightened or bookended by probably a little bit of the family dynamic in our house, which is a wonderfully 5'9" in charge big sister heading off to college, and high school, kind of a high school starter at the volleyball team, and then an 11-year-old sister. So we are talking middle child dynamic here, which I think had something, it played something into our situation, I do believe. The 11-year-old gets to claim the baby, although she doesn't. But we do have this 3 children dynamic, or 3 girl dynamic, and then a son who gets to wear the crown as the only boy. So dynamics that we all know from our upbringing or our family's upbringing. And not that my middle daughter had anything to be depressed about. It seems like maybe we even made life easier for her, because I've said that my mama bear at my house, my wife, you know how you know when you have maybe a weak cub. You see it and you say, we want to protect this particular child in a different way. So that when you do that tends to overdo possibly a little bit. You give them a lot of rope. And I said that one child got 50% of Mama Bear's time, and the other 3 shared the other 50%. We got to a point in the household that my middle daughter was concerningly depressed, coupled with what many people struggle with, ADD. Depression and ADD, we've learned, were 80% a genetic link. So in our household, we deal with that in one child. But occurring outside of any of our family's knowledge was Satan's forces at work, like something I've never seen. I'm an employer. I have a lot of young people that work for me. I've dealt with internet issues at work, walking into guys' desk, and here we've got internet porn on the desktop at work, and that doesn't work very well. So those people find the door, but I'm going to say younger than me, but the 20-something generation. So certainly not that I have my head in the sand. And again, back to these sort of things don't happen to me, right? So the cry for help at our house, I believe, was one that said, I feel alone, I feel unattractive, I feel underappreciated, I want people to like me, I want them to love me. With the desire to really, with a burning desire to make people come into her fold and like her and love her. So, with that much angst, the hole becomes very dark. And others around me are perfect, but I'm not. It's her opinion. Where can a child turn? Social media. Social media provided this outlet, an electronic box full of friends. Just a box. As I see it, there's nothing to this box. Quite honestly, I hate the box. My opinion of the internet, I've said it at work, I've said it everywhere I go. I said to me, and Phil pointed out that it can be useful, but I've always said the internet is Satan. Has anybody else said that? I said the internet's just Satan. It's just straight up. I mean, there's so much there, and you get it in all facets. But the world with no boundaries for most, and what goes on there without the parental eye on the child.